Hello and welcome back. We are in conversation with Abhinandan, and now we are going to get more into P2P lending, what Finzi is. So far I guess we've called Finzi an underdog, who should actually be an overdog or a big dog, whatever the term might be. And I want to get into numbers. What all have you managed to accomplish? What all you guys have managed to do, and so on and so forth. But before we get into that, let's in fact, before we start off on understanding Finzi, why you decided to take the plunge and join Finzi, a finance company of all things. What are you guys about? We have actually some good news to share, I believe. I think you should share the news regarding the RBI application. Yeah.
So the first great news was RBI regulating this peer-to-peer lending and borrowing, which is what we have been doing at Finzi. This happened on 4th of October, just a few weeks back. And also one of the things in the regulations that came out was for the existing peer-to-peer companies to continue to operate, they need to have an NBFC P2P license. And as we all know, getting a banking or an NBFC license is very, very difficult and well sought after thing in India. And we started working on it. Good that from inception we had a lot of things planned to be compliant with this. So there were not many changes that we had to do. However, the list of compliances, the securities, the audits, and all those processes took us a good month's time. And we not only successfully submitted our license application, but in the process became the first fintech company in India to apply for an NBFC P2P license yesterday.
In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe so. Typically, what happens in the NBFC or non-banking financial institution space is that there are two kinds of guidelines. One that is applicable for companies with net assets under management of over 500 crores. And one that happens for those that are lower. Obviously, those with lower assets, maybe a few crores or a couple of 100 crores, they need to, because they don't necessarily have the money to support, adhering to all the regulations that are there. I believe for P2P, what the RBI did is tell you, hey, we don't care, even if you are a 50 lakh rupee company, for all I care, you have to adhere to all the regulations that a 500 crore behemoth of a company has to adhere to.
Correct. So that one came as a surprise for us. There's section A and section B, and section A, like sort of just mentioned, is for companies with over 500 crores of net asset. And RBI wanted to safeguard the interests of investors, borrowers, everybody. They wanted to ensure that the NBFC P2P comes under that category, which meant that you need to have a lot more departments, a lot more processes, a lot more compliances, capital, etc. But we understand why it is being done. However, we are also representing with RBI saying that they should extend the timeline, allow us, the we fintech companies, to have some more time to get all these things in place. Regardless, we have ensured that whatever was required immediately in phase 1, we have completed that. We have built in all those things and submitted the roadmap to them, which is helping us out getting this license hopefully sooner.
Basically, right now, your IT systems, your technology, your processes, your checks and balances as a company, as an organization, it is adhering to the standards of companies, of large enterprises.
In some aspects it is, and what RBI actually said is give us a roadmap and ensure that in the next coming few months all those things are compliant, and on a regular basis there will be audits by them and by other organizations, and as long as we complete all these things we will get those certifications which will allow us to further scale up.
So you're on the path of getting it done for
There were some aspects that were required for us to be absolutely compliant at this stage, the as-is stage, which we were able to tick all those check boxes.
And I believe no other P2P lending platform in India, no matter how big they were, have even yet submitted their application to RBI. You are the only one to submit
that is correct, and we have been celebrating that and being congratulated by all forums. It's a great news. Happened just at the right time.
The reason I particularly wanted to bring this up as a learning, not just for young students, but for budding entrepreneurs and even startup co-founders and employees that are working there right now. regulations are not something that are a hindrance. Regulations exist for a reason. Especially regulations released by bodies such as the RBI or even SEBI for that matter. From whatever I have seen in my experience, they are always good. They might be very tedious to comply with, but they are there for a reason. They're there to safeguard the customer and the lender and everybody. You can't be dismissive of it saying ki, that's a hindrance rather than a betterment or a path of betterment. It's actually a path of betterment. It ties your hands in a responsible way so that you can be better right from the beginning, be the best right from the beginning. Right?
Yeah, to a large extent, you're right. But some of those things could become a little choking or a little difficult for an early stage startup. But the good thing is, if you can explain it to them, the logic or the reasoning behind why it should be relaxed a little bit, why you need a little more time, why it need to be considered differently, they're open for it. Provided you have a good track record. And in our case, my other partner, Amit, he had last year had gone back and represented on the consultation paper that RBI had come up with. And a lot of things were explained over there on how this needs to be done. What are the other stringent policies that needs to be further included in this? Okay. So we ourselves had recommended that why the need of an escrow is super critical, why there should be a limit for borrowing. So those things actually gave us some credibility.
So you just basically taken part in setting the standards for P2P in India.
Yeah, because there was a track record.
You've taken part in the conversation.
We were involved with that earlier.
That's a huge deal, I believe. And
because that...
thank you so much. I mean, you know what? Because of you guys, even if anybody were to invest in any P2P lending platform in India, they can feel more confident of those rules and regulations being there and
which is
of protecting their interests.
Which is very good because although we have ensured that everything is compliant and everything is done in the most secure manner, this move from RBI also ensures that they are taking the retail investors' interest to ensure that other companies or competition don't have any scope of misusing or some of the wrong things happening.
Got it.
So it's a good way for the industry or the ecosystem of peer-to-peer lending and borrowing as such.
Got it. So, well, thank you so much for literally contributing to the financial regulations and guidelines as a company, as a startup. Being considered by the RBI to even give a representation is a big deal in itself.
Absolutely.
Not everybody gets invited to even talk to them.
And multiple times.
Multiple times, definitely. So, with that, let me give a quick 1 minute description of P2P lending itself. For those who may not be familiar with the concept. So, P2P lending or peer-to-peer lending as it is basically where Abhinandan can loan money to me through Finzi. And then Abhinandan obviously not as a member of Finzi team, but as an individual person. And I really love the community aspect of it, where I have a lot of pride as an entrepreneur. I hate taking money from my dad or my parents or anybody I know for any requirement. And one of the biggest challenges I face is that times come when even I need money, especially when trying to run my own company. And even though I might have access to capital through my dad, I can't ask him for it because I know he won't take it back when I give it to him. If I borrow from this platform or if he pays me through this platform, I know he has no way out other than to take the money back because he'll keep getting it.
Correct. It gets credited to his account or it's in his wallet.
It gets credited, right? And there are a lot of use cases. So why don't you tell me what you thought of at the time of joining Finzi? Why Finzi appealed to you of all the things? Why not another travel company in software space? There are a lot many coming up in those also, micro travels and things like that.
Of course, that was the easier path. I had these two paths to choose from, continue what I was doing in the product space, in the travel space, in software industry. And I had a great opportunity to lead the practice globally. And
in ThoughtWorks.
In ThoughtWorks, yes. This was mid last year. And then on the other side, a well-known friend of mine, Amit, and I were talking in terms of it's time for us to do something on our own. We have done enough for our organizations and there are a lot of opportunities and the kind of complementing skills that we had. We thought that we should discuss and we should evaluate a few things. I had few ideas again on travel, on in the educational space too, in the children's space too. I have my daughter was 2 years old back then. And Amit had a couple of ideas on, again, because he's from the financial domain, financial investment specialist. So when we evaluated these ideas, I happened to use a framework where you look at an idea from various parameters. What is the disruption quotient? What is the return on investment? How is the customer experience impact that this is going to do? From an India standpoint, what contribution does it have, or what role does this idea, or does this startup have an impact to play? What is the role of technology over here? So similarly, there were a few things, and also what was important was what was the Indian landscape or environment like? Where was India moving towards? There was other architecture that was coming up. There was digital infrastructure that was getting shaped up, and there were a lot of good initiatives that the government was taking at that point of time. So, keeping all these things, when we started evaluating the different ideas, peer-to-peer lending and borrowing, or the alternate finance, is something that Amit had extensively researched. And I was surprised by the sheer power of the kind of impact that it could create, both from a lender or an investor and to a borrower. So here was a C2C business, consumer to consumer business, and looking at what was happening in India and my own experiences of what I had gone through, whether to take a loan when I needed it the most, or when I was looking at opportunities to invest some of my money. It was very complicated and it was not easy for me to get, and the kind of hidden charges, the time that it took, or sometimes it got rejected, I felt it was very, very complicated. So I took some time. It was absolutely not a knee-jerk reaction because I personally was not somebody who was very good at financial stuff, and for me to become a part of founding Finzi, starting Finzi, was a very well thought through, evaluated decision. And obviously our frameworks helped us to realize what kind of power this had. And also, again, going back to the organization that I was working, we had that freedom to experiment a few things while we continued to play whatever we were doing in our respective roles. So that gave me some time. Also, I could research what was happening globally, talk to a few friends, try it out on some people, interview a few folks, and then realize that, okay, there is a huge scope over here. People in India who have been trying to do this peer-to-peer have missed out on something that is really critical to solve a problem, and that is what made me take the plunge. So that's how my journey of starting Finzi happened. And one of the critical aspects was the problem that this was solving in the financial banking investment space. Whether it was turnaround time, whether it is the rate of interest being offered to the right person at the right rate, whether taking care of the investors to help them optimize their risks and provide an opportunity or a new asset class.
You know, Abhi, so the thing is, although I don't know how many interviews, or I know how many interviews we have released, although we have conducted a lot. But one of the things we've really felt is that, especially when senior folks talk, you guys say all the right things, you know. What really helps me differentiate as a consumer, and I'm not a partner company that helps you out with recruitment at this point. I'm evaluating it literally as a customer. I could be a potential lender or borrower, right? I am. But help me get hardcore numbers on this, right? Let me ask you certain pointed questions and give me your best, most objective answer that you can. Okay, with data that you know that's there in your head. Okay, because you know what's there in Finzi, right? So, for example, like you said, the turnaround time, right? Forget the turnaround time for now. It comes in the process, right? Right now, when I take a loan, right? I'll tell you when I needed a loan the most, right? I'm around going to be 29 years old soon. The first time I started working after graduating from college, I had no furniture in my house. I didn't have a bike or a car. I It was a pain to buy a bed. A bed costs 20,000 rupees with the mattress. And I remember going there and saying, oh, hey, can I save 5,000 rupees on the bed? Can I buy a cheaper mattress? And I hated having to do that because the reality was I was earning a good amount of money. This was post my IIM Lucknow. I was earning a very, very decent amount of money
Correct.
in the almost reaching the six figures. But because I have other expenditures to take care of, I have, some people had education loans to pay off. Suddenly, even if you are earning a lakh, 40,000 is going in education loan. After that, some people need to send money back to their parents. Some people, this is the first time that you are living on your own out after a job. Some people want to go on trips and suddenly you need 60,000 rupees for going on a long trip. I don't have that kind of liquidity saved up.
Or buy a bike or a car.
And the biggest challenge that I face is in understanding by the time I'm done paying, how much will I end up paying? Typically, whatever I have seen is, and I've used credit cards, I've used other loans and everything. If I take a lakh rupee loan, first of all, if I take the loan for 1 year term, I'm going to be expected to roughly end up paying around 1,20,000 rupees or 1,15,000 to 1,20,000 rupees by the time I'm done paying off the loan. At the same time, if I take a lesser rate loan, because they'll give me a lesser rate for a greater period of time, let's say take a loan for 3 years. And then I try to pay it back in 1 year. So in 3 years, let's say I would end up paying the equivalent of 1,30,000 now because I'm paying over 3 years. And if I try and pay it off in 1 year, now suddenly I'm hit with these early repayment. I mean, I'm giving money back. Yeah, I'm giving money back ahead of time. Like I really don't get this early repayment concept. Like I'm giving you back your money ahead of time. What more do you want from a borrower's perspective, especially? So if I take a 1 lakh rupee loan on Finzi, let's say, and I pay it back in a year, how much money will I end up paying by the time the loan is repaid? Simple.
I mean, first of all, you can take a loan. There's a product called the base product is where you get to get a base EMI. It is for a period of 3 years. Okay. But like you rightly said, you have the advantage of paying it anytime. Pay it in the second month, 6 months, 12 months. It's you who decide to pay. So
and no repayment fees, or no early fees,
there's no lock-in period, there is nothing. Okay. No hidden charges.
So basically that means I have up to 3 years to pay back the whole amount and a minimum amount that I need to pay each month.
Correct. That is right. Now if you decide to, like I said, prepay, you decide when you want to decide, how much you want to decide. That's for you to do that. So what happens in Finzi is a very quick loan application process of 3-4 minutes is what it takes. Everything digitally and in a
3-4 minutes.
Yes. Wow. You get to upload those documents, the basic documents like your address proof or identity proof, the salary slips, bank statements, ITR. Through that, we do a KYC, know your customer address kind of a concept.
It's ITR.
It is.
Let's say as a fresher, right, when I joined, I hadn't actually filed taxes ever. So how do you handle cases of, I have a salary slip I'm earning, but I haven't actually...
In that case, there is something called as a Form 16. We take that. See, we need to ensure, like I told you some time back, it's a C2C business. It's an investor's money that is getting invested in multiple people. It's more important than my own money. The success of this business, or what we have demonstrated all this while, is in ensuring the tight underwriting process to give the loan to the deserving and the right customer at the right rate. We are not really crazy behind building book sizes and going and giving loans to everybody. As a model, a business model, we have decided that these are the parameters, these are our underwriting standards, and that's one of the reasons why our algorithm is considered as gold standard, and it is working. So what happens is, if you're able to pass those requirements, we are able to immediately give it to you in as less as 2 hours, saying that whether you'll get a loan or not.
Got it.
And what is the rate of interest. And that is dependent on all various aspects and parameters that we're looking at.
Got it. So even if I have not actually filed an IT return ever, you can still take a look at my bank account statement and other things, my salary slip, my educational certificates, whatever else, and take a call on it. It's not a blanket, no, we won't serve you. You will take a look at it, consider it, and then quickly let me know whether I am wasting my time or, because one of the biggest challenges I found is loan companies wasting time. 5 days I'm undergoing the application process, and then they tell me some random rule by which I'm disqualified. I am okay being disqualified, but tell me in 10 minutes.
That is exactly what we wanted to solve. I myself have gone through that. There were emergencies where you need to arrange for funds and you don't know whether the loan is coming through this or not.
Exactly.
And after 3-4 days, you'll have to start this whole process all over again. And we said that enough. Just let this person know whether we are able to take this forward and list him on the platform, which means it's accepted, or for whatever reasons, it cannot be given.
So, all things said and done, let's come back to the question that I actually asked. I have taken 1 lakh rupee loan.
Going back to that, now where I said that the credit assessment, the algorithm decides what rate of interest you would pay.
Sure.
It can start anywhere from 10.99% and go up to 27.99%.
Okay.
We don't have any customers in the 21.99 to 27.99.
Okay.
This is for a reason, because some time back we spoke that we focus more on the prime customers and not on the risky customers. So now
most are 10 to 15% types.
Yeah, it's 15, 14, 16. Okay. This is where it settles on it. And now what happens is your credit history, your earning capability, your leverage, the expenses that you do, your education. There are many factors that come into the company that you work with. It helps us in taking a call on what is the rate of interest that you should be paying. So there is something called as a FinZ score, a FinZ grade. Okay. What the algorithm churns out, and that gives you the rate. Let's say a 13%, 12.99 or 13.99. It's immediate. That's when you're immediately asked about it. Are you okay? And when you accept it, it gets listed on the platform.
And this 13.99 is reducing balance.
It's a reducing balance.
So on every, help me out to understand what exactly it means. If I take 100 rupee loans from you right now. Next month I pay you back 10 rupees plus, let's say, 1 rupee of interest that had accrued on it.
Okay,
approximately. So I pay you back 10 rupees. So now my balance had ballooned up to 101. Now my balance is 91 at the beginning of the second one.
Yes, that is absolutely right.
So so that means even if you give a rate of 15%, by the time I'm done paying off a lakh rupee worth of loan, I'll be paying 1,07,000, 8,000 rupees.
Yes, it translates to approximately something around that.
So,
and this is what people don't realize.
So I can take 1 lakh rupee loan and pay back 1,07,000, 8,000 at the end of 1 year. I don't care what you're going to call 15%, 14% and all. I care about my extra money that I'm paying over and above. So basically the absolute amount of money that you pay is far lesser than what it feels like looking at the rate.
That is what has been established today. And
because that's the annualized rate over there.
Annualized rates.
And you guys do it monthly.
We do it monthly.
So tell me this, when every other company is busy exploiting us, and you can happily follow the line and probably earn 10 times the profit that you would by following this monthly reducing balance concept at both the lender end and at the borrower end, what made you want to take that plunge and sacrifice?
I mean,
if you have literally sacrificed your profits. Every other company is busy taking money from us.
I think so. You can still build a great business and you can still be profitable, which is what we are proving. The name finance is easy, FinZ. It just doesn't mean that we made it easier. It's also a lot about trust. It's also a lot about transparency. And the whole reason for us to get into this is to solve problems. And one of the biggest things was to simplify this and to ensure that you pay what you should be paying, right? Okay. And that would be going against our own ethos, and that is something that is absolutely not.
Even if literally hardly any other finance company in India is even bothering to do that.
I'm not sure about what they're all
doing.
But at least I get the feeling when we have seen all these things, it's made to look like it's annualized, and the concept of reducing balances, you should be paying interest for the amount or the principal outstanding amount and not.
You see, anybody who's ever used a credit card knows exactly what we are talking about. I understand your hesitancy to not, bell the cat in a very explicit manner. But, hey, as a consumer, I'm entitled to do so. And this is literally the reason I'm sitting here with this guy today and spending my time for whatever little it's worth, because I have somebody to buy a bike from, buy furniture from, buy whatever, go on a trip on,
medical emergency,
medical emergency, education, right? 50, 60,000, 70. I think you have a maximum cap of 5 lakh rupees per loan.
It starts with 50,000 and it ends at 5 lakh for a borrower.
For
an investor, you can invest anywhere up to 10 lakh rupees.
Up to 10 lakh rupees. Okay. So, and I think most things get done between 50,000 to 5 lakh rupees. That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
that's a good Euro trip, 5 lakhs.
Yes.
That's a Euro trip. For a month,
at
least, right? Actually, that can be done cheaper. I've done it for
it is
much lesser.
You should definitely experience the backpacking and the.
It will be 5-star trip. Okay, so you're offering that much amount of money, such good interest rates. Again, at the same time, we discussed on the lender side, the guy is apparently earning 16% return. What's happening there? Where is the magic?
So again, the RBI ensures that there is no skimming. Okay. This is after the regulations. What I mean by skimming is, if a borrower is paying, let's say, a 16% or a 17% rate of interest.
Okay.
Now the money is invested into him by a lender or a group of lenders. We can't keep a percent or two and pass only 14 or 15 to this guy.
So the whole money needs to
whole money what you are paying as interest needs to go to the lender. Okay. So that is what I mean by skimming. So the recently introduced regulations ensure that peer-to-peer companies, NBFCs, cannot do skimming.
Okay.
Now we, as a hygiene factor, had this practice in place from our inception when we started this, because we kind of knew that these are the right practices and this is the corporate governance we want to have in place. This is the transparency we want to have in place. So other than a small platform fees that we charge only after your loan is dispersed to your account, there is nothing that we charge from you as a borrower.
Okay.
Now coming back to your question on how is it possible for an investor to get 16% or 17% interest on a consistent basis, when I just now told that our borrowers,
I'm going to pay 7,000 rupees extra on 1 lakh rupees for a year, right?
Right. So what happens is there are a couple of things over here. One is when an investor, read it as lender or think of it as a lender, he invests, let's say, 1 lakh of rupees in the platform. Okay. It doesn't come to me. It goes to an escrow account. Which
an escrow account is basically a third-party account in a bank that is secured, and you don't get to access and take money out of that.
You don't get to. There is a trustee, who operate on our instructions. The technology can give an instruction saying that here is 1 lakh of rupees that has come from person A, and that needs to be diversified. This is what the beauty of the system is. So it doesn't go into a person who needs 1 lakh of rupees. It probably just 10,000 of it goes to this person, and another 90,000 goes to 9 different people. So the money that comes in is diversified. So each of these 10 people could be giving different interest rate. Somebody could be giving a 14%, somebody a 16%, somebody a 17%, and somebody a 15%. So on an average, the returns what we have seen on Finzi is somewhere in the tune of 15 to 16%. Although we cannot assure or promise these kind of returns to our customers, but when we successfully demonstrate this time and again, they kind of know that it's time for them to invest again and take advantage of what we have been doing on their behalf through technology, through sales and marketing, through distribution, right? So, and there is an aspect of what we call it as power of compounding, right? The return on your investment increases significantly when you don't withdraw the EMIs. Right here, because you invested this money into different set of borrowers, they keep paying money month after month, right? So now either that money can be withdrawn or you can have it reinvested onto the platform. If you're withdrawing that money, you're taking a part of the principal, right? So
let me think of it like a fixed deposit, right? I keep 1 lakh rupees in a fixed deposit for the full year. I don't get to touch it during the year. I put in 1 lakh at the beginning. I get 1 lakh at the end, plus let's say around 8% interest. I think that's the FD rate now. Hopefully, I think it's going down also right now. 6%. Wow. Okay. So I'm going to get 6,500 rupees at the end of a year, over and above the 1 lakh. Over here, as long as I make sure I have 1 lakh rupees disbursed as lending amounts to
Correct.
borrowers,
Correct.
I'm going to end up getting 1,16,000, 1,17,000 rupees at the end of a year.
Correct.
Those are
Right.
actual number. There is a reason I'm making this very explicit in the videos. Put this out on YouTube, as you know. He cannot lie. He's going to get into legal trouble if he's lying right now.
Yes.
And this is the amount of confidence that we have.
Demonstrated it. It's
Track record.
available on our website. You can try
We're
to
actually doing it. It's like magic, but it's not. It's just maths.
Yeah, you just. I mean, with all these regulations, even if anybody wants to now, it's not going to be possible for them to do that.
Okay.
And we have demonstrated it even much before, like I said, the regulations came in. It's very clear, right? You can't do skimming. Whatever comes over there goes over there. There is an escrow in place, and there is a simple concept of keep investing. I mean, don't withdraw the funds. So it happens on its own. It's automatic.
You in fact have an auto invest
Yeah.
function as well, which
Yes,
is quite
yes,
awesome,
yes.
right? That will
And
take
that is
care of
something-
it.
Yeah, that is something that people have just loved it. I think more than 95% of the investors use auto
Okay.
invest logic. It's called as Finzi Pro.
Okay.
So what happens in that is when you invest your lakh of rupees, like I said, you don't have to manually go and split it into 10, 20 different people.
Okay.
Okay. The algorithm does it
Okay.
on your behalf and loads it onto different people with different risk categories and shows it to you saying that, hey, Saurabh, this is how I've invested. These are the set of people. This is their information. The personal information is not shown to you.
Okay.
What is the reason they're taking a loan? What do they do? What is their Finzi score? What is the rate of interest that they're going to give? What industry they belong to? Their credit information, etc.
Okay.
And
So you get everything
Yeah,
apart
you
from
see
their
all-
identity,
yeah,
basically.
you see all those things, and then you see what is the return that you're getting. This
Okay.
15.8 or 16.4, and then you confirm on it. And in a matter of a second, the money is deployed into this set of people, all the borrowers that has been shown to you. So that is something that was a feature that we launched out as our first product, as in when we launched the product out for the
Okay.
beta people, the
Okay.
closed user group, it was available.
This was how long back?
This was around 5.5, 6 months back.
6 months back.
And
Wow.
point to note over here is some of the competition who've been in play for several years trying to do this have still been figuring it out on how to get this auto invest, the Finzi Pro kind of a feature out.
If people waste too much time giving interviews, that's what happens. But not doing the work, or rather giving the interview before the work is done,
Yeah.
that's typically what happens.
Let the
So,
product speak for itself.
yeah, if it's good, it speaks for,
In fact, when we were speaking to some of the authorities, they were pleasantly surprised that the concept of fragmentation and consolidation, mind you, it's really, really complex.
Yeah.
And the way we solved it was I mean, we take pride in that fact, because imagine your money getting split into multiple people and you getting to know that there is one amount that has gone from you, and then when everybody pays it back, all of those things are consolidated and it's distributed to the right set of lenders. The right interest goes when somebody partially prepays or fully prepays. So this whole
All eventualities,
yeah, it's
anything
very,
can
very
happen.
simple for you. You just come in with a few clicks, you've invested. So many people have gotten money from it. When they have paid back, it's come to you as just one. So that is where all the magic happened. Of course, you do have dashboards and passbooks where you can see who all it has gone to. But in the end, it's a simple one single credit and a one single debit that happens.
Got it. So, in fact, one of the, I don't know if you have thought about this yet, but we have a lot of students who are highly interested in finance, and the concept of investing on Finzi with real money or even without, I think there are enough people who had, I can put up 50,000 rupees to see, who want to invest in the stock market, who want to invest in different asset classes, who want to learn what investing really is.
Okay.
And I found the Finzi platform to be a perfect educational tool almost. Where, let's say I'm coming in with 50,000 rupees, I know for a fact, hey, not only am I going to get a good return because this is a low risk product in real life, this is a great sandbox to learn investing itself. Because the auto invest function that you spoke of is literally almost a auto portfolio designer. You are creating a portfolio of
Different risks, yeah.
different risks, different returns,
And
It could be 20 stocks instead of 20 people for all I care, and I will get to understand and simulate the exact same thing.
absolutely. And if you have time, you can, of course, try the manual option where you can filter and see borrowers on the basis of which city they are from, what reason they are taking the loan for, how much of their loan is already filled.
Okay.
So,
have you
very, very educational it is.
So, have people come back to you and brought it up yet? That hey, we are learning how to,
The fact that
learn finance. Literally, we are getting to see what is happening.
the very fact that more than 50% of our investors have reinvested.
So the lenders.
The lenders, they come back. Let's say they started with creating a portfolio of around 2 lakh rupees or 3 lakh rupees. They've seen the returns in the first month, second month, and they have compared it with their FDs or mutual funds or stock market or savings bank, and they've known what is the power of this and what this is happening. And they have gone ahead and created multiple portfolios. That itself says that
50% have already
more than
reinvested.
50% of the lenders have reinvested. So that says that they like exploring it, the simplicity of it, and of course the results for them to see it for themselves. So, like you rightly said, for students, for people who have just started working, come out of colleges and all, and if they have some savings, they should definitely try putting a portion of that into an investment like Finzi, which is very new, where risk is optimized, returns are higher. They get to figure out how do they do it and all. One is they learn, and second is they get to compare how it is performing against some of the other things that they have invested in. They might have tried share market, or they might have just kept it as an FD.
Let me give you a small story of mine. Please don't laugh, or try your best not to laugh, okay? And the reason I'm saying this, so I did my mechanical engineering from BITS Pilani, and around the third year, I was already heavily into playing a lot of poker on campus, and but it wasn't with big amounts of money, like some 30 rupees, 20 rupees or something.
Was it
that too in treat, as treats.
Okay.
It would be like a competition.
Okay.
So like in Bangalore, for example, it's legal now. And then that came much later. It would be, it was just played as a game of skill for fun. And because of the kind of
not
environment,
gambling.
it's not gambling. It's more of pride. I won. And eventually over time, I got interested in finance. And so I said, okay, I want to invest in the stock market. I took close to 2 lakh rupees from my dad. 2 lakh rupees. This is 2007, okay. I did my research solidly for 2 months before investing. I invested in 3 stocks. One of them was a big blue chip company. One was a mid cap, which was a small, and then one was a small cap, which was my high risk, high return bet. And within 1 month, that 2 lakh went up to almost 2 lakh 40,000 rupees, which was great. And then one fine morning, I wake up and I'm thinking, hey, everything is going great. I have 1 lakh rupees. 1 lakh 40,000 wiped out, the subprime crisis hit in the US. My dad was nice enough not to
pick on me or say anything, but at the end of the day, I had lost my dad 1 lakh rupees of capital. I hadn't actually had any time to cash out that 20,000-30,000 rupees of profit that I had made, because you never know when to cash out. Yes, good point.
And it was a horrible experience, and the thing is, it made me distrust my own capability in investing ever again. To the point where, I don't want to risk it again. And even with my own money, I've done this and seen, mere ko nahi dalna. No matter how good math. And honestly, the worst feeling was because I'd done so much maths for those 2 months, trying to predict which stocks, what will happen. I did not predict the subprime crisis. I'm not going to beat myself over it, obviously. But it happened just the same, right? I lost the money just the same. And so for me, if Finzi was there at that point in time, I probably would have preferred. It's a good place to try out and see where I'm not going to fail. Like, success is guaranteed. It could be less success or more success.
Correct.
But it's almost a success is guaranteed kind of an education platform, right?
Yeah, that point, what you made makes a lot of sense when you said did not know when to cash out and all. When we were thinking about it and when we were speaking to a group of investors, one of the ideas or one of the things that we mentioned was, of course, Finzi is new. The concept of peer-to-peer lending and borrowing is new in India. It will take some time for everybody to understand and realize the potential and the power that this has. But if you really want to play it safe, there is a way out. Yes, you may not be able to actualize the returns as much as you should have. It's like, let's say you invested 5 lakhs in Finzi, and you're getting a good amount of returns each month. It's 15,000, 20,000, which is your EMI and interest. Now, instead of reinvesting it on the platform, go ahead and withdraw it and put it in a SIP kind of a product.
Okay, mutual fund.
Mutual fund.
Monthly mutual fund.
Where your returns may not be higher, but you're building your portfolios elsewhere. You're diversifying further. So
this acts as an anchor.
This will, like what you said, no, things if ever were to go wrong, that you're just not left invested in all in one. There is a small amount that you're taking it out and further investing elsewhere. So there are various things that people can experiment with. And,
so people are getting creative in how they're choosing to use.
If you say that I don't want to take too much of risk, I believe in some of these products, you can still do it with a Finzi Plus.
It's not a mutually exclusive. This is it. No, it's part of the larger ecosystem which exists.
I mean, eventually they will realize the power of leaving it in Finzi or reinvesting in Finzi.
Fair enough.
But if there are to be people who want to ensure that they further want to keep investing,
I'm looking at it especially from a professional's mindset, because honestly, I get the 16% a year. That's what my dad thinks about. I think of 16% a month.
Yeah.
Because
I get it. I hear.
But then in doing that 16% a month, I literally told you how I lost.
It happens.
So this could act as a cover which can enable me to,
Right.
Yeah, really
there is a safe and steady way of getting good returns. Have your risks optimized, have your investments safe.
Yeah, and then just invest
in part of the portfolio which you can again further experiment in whatever you've been saying.
Yeah, so basically, correct me if I'm wrong, if I put in approximately 10 lakh rupees in Finzi, I think that's the limit that you said,
that's
right?
The max limit.
10 lakh rupees in Finzi, at your rate of interest, I'm going to end up getting 1,60,000, 70,000 rupees a month a year as interest back.
Correct.
And around
50,000 a month. Yeah, you're right.
And I can literally invest that interest amount then in higher risk products, keeping the anchor safe.
Yeah. Did you know that because you talked about students, right? Yeah. A steady investment of something like 10,000 rupees, I mean, not considering the cap of 10 lakh rupees, in a product like Finzi, which yields somewhere around 15 to 16%, if you take it, just take a guess. Let's say these guys are around 25 years of age.
Okay.
If they do this 10,000 rupees investment per month for the next 25 years, what would be the return at the end of 25 years? Assuming that they're not withdrawing this.
Okay, so 10,000 per month, that means I will pay 1,20,000 per year. That into 25, so 20,000 into 25, that's going to be another 5 lakhs, and 1 lakh into 25 lakhs. So around 30 lakhs I will end up putting on the platform over time. In 25 years. And at 15-16% interest rate per year, because I'm paying 1.5 lakhs per year, I would say approximately I will end up with 15,000 per year, blah blah blah. I would put it roughly around the 50 lakh range.
Okay.
Very rough calculations, but approximately 50 lakhs in 25 years.
That's probably the kind of money you would get it on a savings bank account.
Okay.
I'll give you another hint.
Okay.
Let's say a mutual fund or a gold, which yields you somewhere around 9-10%.
Okay.
Or 11%.
Okay.
Not very far.
So
from
I
15%.
So I keep the full 25 lakhs in Finzi only, the whole throw.
Yeah. So
So for that last 1 year, I have 30 lakh rupees in Finzi.
Right.
Although that's 25 years later. Right now it's only 10.
So before answering you,
what I'm also saying because I'm going to get. Wow, okay, I know where I'm gone wrong, because I'm going to get 4.5 lakh rupees just in that last year itself. Just in that last year itself. And everything else will be a decreasing function from there up to 15,000 rupees 25 times. So that's 4 lakh plus 15 around. Okay. Okay. I'm having a hard time saying this out loud because I feel stupid, but apparently I'm going to end up making close to 65 to 70 lakhs.
No, you'll be off. So
Okay.
what
Nice.
happens is 11, like I said, 10-11% kind of a product, not the 15-16% of Finzi, would give you somewhere around 1.6-1.7 crores.
Crores.
Yeah, in 25
How
years
did
time.
we just jump from lakhs to crores?
That is what we are trying to tell India through this product. What is the power of compounding? Now,
You're telling me 10,000. Wait. Okay. Because this is going crazy now, right? You are telling me I can put 10,000 rupees per month.
yeah.
Forget the 25 years, okay? Let me come back to 10 years because
No, the
the
power of
25 years
compounding
matters.
works. Yeah, it is very high even for 10.
Okay.
But the numbers is mind-boggling. Even when I heard this from Amit, when he first explained this to me, I said this is nowhere possible. Why on earth did I not invest
10,000
this?
rupees every
Yeah,
month, 25
because
years
the
ago.
amount we are talking, investing in a product like Finzi, which is like 4-5% higher than your mutual fund or your gold, yields you not 1.5 or 1.7, not 2. It's around 3.6-3.7 crores. This
You're telling me
I'll
I have
explain this
to
whole thing in detail.
30 lakh rupees becoming 3.5 crores in 25 years.
Yes, at 15%. We are not even talking.
And
about
I just have to
16%
pay 10,000 rupees per
every
month.
and keep it invested.
That's
This-
with your auto invest feature, which anyways I don't
we
have
can
to
say
work
auto
for it.
reinvest. Yeah, you don't have to work on that. You have to let the algorithm do its work, and this is where it.
Hey, I don't think I want to know more. I'm kind of figuring out what's happening here. I kind of want to cut short the interview and get to work. Scrounging up 10,000 rupees from
However,
somewhere. But
I mean, what happens is like right now there is a cap of maximum investment, which is again something that we are talking to. We are saying that why should these things be
I think over time
invested? It will
yeah.
increase. It will definitely increase. But the point.
Do you have a monthly investment system where I can put 10,000? You just said minimum was 50,000. Are you working towards
So
it?
what happens is the minimum investment amount for you to start is 50,000.
Okay.
Subsequent investments could be as less as 10,000 rupees. You can create a portfolio
Oh,
the second time onwards for 10,000.
So just the first time 50,000
Yes.
and after that I can start putting 10,000 per month.
Yes, you can,
whenever
you
I get
can put whenever, how much ever you want to. The moment your wallet is got 10,000 rupees the second time, you can create a portfolio. And again, like you said, there is auto invest of Finzi Pro. Just go through that and keep investing.
Oh.
So this is what we wanted to tell. The biggest takeaway should be, if you can invest in a risk optimized, technology driven, of course a good team, product that can yield you 15-16% of returns on a consistent basis, then you should definitely start investing this 10,000 rupees, and you will see that your whenever you want to retire, the corpus is phenomenally different. We can definitely talk a little more on how did we arrive at this calculation, and
You know what? I think for that I'm going to ask Amit to be here.
oh yeah,
Let's have that
absolutely.
fun.
I think
Because
it's
I want to
both.
hear it from Amit himself.
Yeah,
Because you think he showed it to
he
you,
drew
right?
this to me, and ever since I've been wondering that. I mean, I wish I could invest in Finzi. I can't, but I have missed out on that. It's not too late. I'll start again on something else. I wish RBI allows me to invest in Finzi. Nevertheless, but it's a good message to you all over there to consider this kind of an option and start making that investments on a regular basis.
I mean, that's to me. I think especially for young folks who are just starting to work, saving 10,000 rupees is like not going out drinking on 4 days of the month.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's or for those who don't drink, going to an expensive restaurant, going for a trip.
Movies or what?
Even if you end up saving up 2,000 rupees a month or 3,000, save up 10,000 and put that money in. You will need it sometime. Even if it's for the most useless of expenses, right? You'll need the money.
Yeah, I mean, 25,000 was where you get the dramatic real results. It can be 10 years, it can be 15 years, it can be 5,000 also. Still, because of the power of compounding, what it means is when you keep it invested, it takes to a whole lot of level, a whole different level.
Basically, it's better than most other things out there for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
Simple as that.
Of course, the savings banks or wherever you get 3-4%, it's not that exciting. But when it crosses the threshold of 13-14% and it goes to 15%, what we talked was for 15%. If it is 16%, you don't even want to know that number.
I am going to find out that number by investing my own money, and I'm already actually starting on. Let me put that right. I am actually investing money in Finzi to put my money where my mouth is. and I'm starting off with a small 50,000 rupee investment.
Thank you. That's a huge testimonial. You coming on board as one of our lenders.
I absolutely have to. I don't know who my money will go to. I want to play the game because it sounds like a fun game to see as well.
No. We should have a part 2 of this where we talk just about that.
Absolutely. I want to share my learnings as I invest in Finzi about the portfolio and all of that. And so you're going to make sure, I know Amit is a really, really busy man, and you're going to ensure we get his time also.
I will
soon enough.
Absolutely.
Couple of weeks time.
Definitely. I'll ensure that.
Let's have him here.
Yes.
And you know what? I'm not going to give this calculation because as you saw, I was going so off the mark. I don't want to even attempt at explaining it.
And by the way, we look up to you for your geniusness in maths and the way you compute. So we would like it to be a challenge, and we are ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, 25. I was thinking, okay, I know savings bank and all because I've invested money in LIC and all of those kind of stuff, right? That gives me a 25-year life insurance and that will give me some amount of money back and all. The reason was, I was taking a shortcut, I'll be very honest. I wasn't actually doing the maths. I was just comparing it to what I get elsewhere.
Very smart.
And I was putting those numbers because I don't know how to do 25 years of calculations really fast. That well, I could do it, but I felt a bit lazy, so I think that's where I got the numbers so wrong. But the magnitude when you said it is crazy. Like that's I can't think of another word.
It will take some time. It took me a lot of time to get to know that this is something the power of.
Let's bring Amit here and do that discussion
yes.
Whoever else from the
Finzi
team we can. I think it will be educational. We've already discussed how much of a finance genius Amit is. And that would be really awesome to have you guys. And I think a lot of students would want to learn from him and learn finance from him.
Yes.
So, we would love to facilitate that.
And definitely you should catch hold of Vishwas too.
Yes.
The way he has innovated in creating new sales opportunities, new sales strategic partnerships is phenomenal. And Apurv, he's a product specialist.
Yes.
The design thinking that you see on the website, the simplicity and all.
Yes.
I'm sure if we are talking to students and this is the kind of audience that what you're talking about, they should benefit from whatever we have learned or whatever we have implemented.
So just to give some insights, so Vishwas is the sales head of Finzi. He's a co-founder. So all these 4 guys are part of the founding team.
He has around 24 years of experience in
Toyota,
automobile companies, Toyota, TVS and all.
Bunch of companies.
And Apurv was my colleague in ThoughtWorks, comes with around 12-13 years of experience.
So he's you part 2, basically.
Yeah, we pair up together and we manage the technology and product piece.
Okay.
That's
you know what? Thank you so much for taking time here. Now wait, before you go off, we have an additional bonus, right? Finzi is going to start hiring soon.
Oh yes.
And there are a lot of internship opportunities for existing 4th year or even 3rd year, final year students from the coming January till June, July, who are then going to be given PPO opportunities and PPOs as well. I believe you guys are paying them almost 5 lakhs as a CTC at a starting salary.
Yeah, we've had a couple of great success stories thanks to you. Great people. So we look forward to have some of the smart kids be part of this journey, be part of Finzi, treat this as your own company, grow together.
So here, before we go on, let me announce this for all the kids here. And I think this is the first time, I know this is the first time I'm informing him as well during this video recording. So we have created a special assessment test for Finzi that we are taking out to all the college students of Bangalore.
Okay.
3rd and 4th years, yes, those who are free to do internships.
Okay.
You guys pay decent amount of money during the internships as well, right? I think you guys pay $10,000 per month.
Actually, little more than that.
Little more than that as well. Okay. So more than that, like that's a lot of money, just the same for a student, right? And these internship opportunities, what we are doing is we are recreating the education itself so that by the time students come to you, they already know everything that we have taught them, everything I have learned from you guys.
That is very important.
We have documented the work in sales, marketing. Vishwas has given me his time, Amit has given me his time. They have been so kind in educating me about their business. It was the least that I could do is document it and bring it out to all the students. The reason I wanted to announce it during the interview as well, a lot of the students asked me, hey, where did you learn this from? You are, a sales and marketing guy, ex-Samsung strategy consultant. And the thing is, where do I learn from? It's because people are kind enough to spend their time with me and educating me on what is possible and what happens.
It's symbiotic. We get to learn a lot from you too. Now that we are getting
little bit whatever I can contribute.
more engaged with marketing and analytics and other aspects.
So we have, let me quickly touch upon the job roles, right? And you can pitch in on some of them. So we have 3 exciting job roles at Finzi that we're looking at. One is, and all of them, by the way, are job roles of the future in the sense that they are all heavily based on predictive modeling.
Correct.
They are analytics driven. This is not a Lala company where you do things from the gut. You need to do the maths, you need to do the work, you need to do the analytics and then do it. At the same time, it's not something that is impossible. He, like Abhinandan himself is proof of it. He's somebody coming from a completely different background, getting into finance. And did you feel during this interview that you didn't understand anything? I think we've used absolute simple language. Even if anything got complicated,
we have not even used IRRs or we have not used APRs. Any of those.
Interest and principle, I think, were the most. Anything else I asked you, hey, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by that?
I don't think, That's reducing, which is everybody that can.
And we discussed it also, right? 101 becomes 91, that becomes the principle, right? Everything is made that simple. And get this. So, typically what we used to do earlier was that we used to say, hey, here are these job role opportunities, come learn from us, then you get these opportunities. Taking ethics into account, as you guys have been doing, what we have also done now is give the test. If you are good enough and meeting all the criteria, get a direct interview with Abhinandan. Direct interview. I don't even come in the picture anywhere. We don't come in the picture. However, if they are not doing that well in the test, we have created custom-made courses in predictive modeling, in financial analytics, in marketing, in content design and sales as well, that people can take to make themselves ready for your job. By which, and it is made in such a way that after that, if they give the test again and take a retest of it or even give another version of the test, it is designed to help them succeed. And post that, they will be eligible to get an interview with you.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, this absolutely
works, right?
Yes.
Because, one thing that people talk about a lot is, hey, if you teach me and then I take the test again, isn't that cheating? Like, no, then you didn't know, now you know. Nobody cares how you learned. Because now you have learned it.
You need to be ready for that. You need to understand the basics right and then start adding value. At the same time, get to learn a lot.
So, if you want to work with Abhinandan and the whole Finzi team, and from whatever he has said, we know the rest of the Finzi team consists of lots of very senior people from the industry and who really know their stuff, who deal with the RBI, who understand what they are doing, who are on a mission to help and change finance in India itself, and who are actually showing it and doing it in so fast an amount of time, 5 months, 6 months. Every month they are becoming a better and bigger company and achieving new heights. This is your opportunity. I'm going to leave the links down in the description of this video. Apply. Simple as that. What's stopping you from applying? Literally nothing. It doesn't matter which college you are from. I'm not going to ask you your college name. I'm not going to ask you your 10th marks, 12th marks, college marks. Give the test. If you are good enough, you will know. And the rest, as Abhinandan said, 50% curiosity, 35% sincerity and 15% outcome. Don't worry about the outcome, just put in the effort. I think, Abhinandan, would you like to give any message to all the kids out there before we sign off?
I think we've had a good experience with, like I said earlier, a couple of candidates, and I kind of look forward for the assessment that you're saying. I had heard about it, but again, I don't know too many details in it. But the way you have said it, if they're able to cross that, looks like it will take care of the hygiene part. And if they have the right attitude, positive energy, then we look forward to have you on board. There are multiple roles. We are expanding across India. Again, Bangalore is our base. So reach out to us. Happy to take this forward. Good luck.
Thank you so much, Abhinandan. We're going to sign off on this. And I hope to see you, or Abhinandan will hope to see you in an interview with him very soon, right? Thanks so much.